Hi, I'm Dr. Kimberlee Mendoza, and this is another episode of Blue Fire Faith. Today we're going to talk about miracles. I know there are people out there that believe that miracles still don't happen, but I have experienced way too many to believe that, and we were told in Scripture, and I'll read it to you, John 14:12, "Very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these because I am going to the Father." So we are definitely been told by Jesus that we would do bigger and greater things than he did, and I have seen that in my own life. I have experienced many miracles, and I may even tell you a few of them on here. I've probably shared some of them with you in other videos, but you know, when God does great things, then it's great to share them often, and so I might do that. So it says in Scripture, when the disciples saw this one blind man, they say, "What sins did he have?" And Jesus says, "No, he's not like this because somebody in his family sinned or he sinned. He's like this because I want to be able to show you how great God is." Now, the same story, what's interesting is when Jesus touches the man with some mud, he sees blurry trees, and then Jesus does it again and he sees clearly. I love this story because it shows that not every miracle is the same. Sometimes people touched him. Sometimes Jesus just spoke it and it happened. Other times he did things like this where it would not, be instant. And so we have to know that every miracle is different. Every miracle that God does is going to be different. The timing is going to be different. Sometimes it'll be instant and sometimes it will take time. And so what we see something else happen on someone else isn't necessarily what's going to happen to us. I love that God is just so creative in how he heals different people, and it's for a reason. There's some method to his madness of why things happen. What's interesting is my youngest son, was born blind in one eye. And I remember thinking he's not going to be able to drive because of that. And so I was praying like a mad woman that he would be healed before he had to take his driver's test. And there's a scripture website where you can go in and you plug in your scripture. Your birthday, and then it spits out a life verse for you. And so when I plugged in my son's birthday, it spit out when Jesus heals the blind man. And it was the one that I was talking about where he put mud on his eyes and he saw everything that was blurry. So that told me it wasn't going to happen necessarily right away, but that eventually he would be healed. So I loved that. It gave me goosebumps. It was like, wow, that's really amazing that would be the verse. That's his life verse. So we get down to the DMV and I'm praying like crazy, like, God, heal him. If you're going to heal him, now's the time you got to heal him. And I tell my son this is the worst thing a mother could do. Not the worst thing, but it wasn't a very good thing for me to say. But I'm like, you know what, when you hold your hand up, don't close your other eye. You'll be able to see through your hand. And my teenage son says to me, "Well, where's the faith in that, Mom?" Okay, you're right. Okay, so he goes up, he does his eyesight test, and he fails, of course. I knew that's what was going to happen. And so I'm like, God, you're not healing him. You told me you would. And I'm like not trusting at all at this point. And my son is like completely not worried about it at all. So he gets up to them and they say, "Well, there's this machine you can do and you can miss up to 3. And if you miss more than 3, then you don't drive. You will be considered a sighted person and you'll never drive." So I'm still praying and my son is not worried at all. And he goes up to the machine. He misses the first one. And he misses the second one. And he misses the third one. And I'm like, my son's going to be a sighted kid. I am not trusting at all. But then he doesn't miss anymore. He completely passes that exam. And so he's fine. He can take his driver's license. And it didn't happen the way I thought it would happen. But my son never worried. He trusted that God would take care of him, and he is. I still to this day believe that someday he will be healed, but I think it's going to be the right time for the right purpose when it needs to happen. Okay, so it's interesting in this because I'm talking about miracles, and I'm talking about a way that a miracle did not really happen the way that we think it should. However, God has shown me something pretty amazing. So my cat, so I know it's weird to talk about my animal, but my cat had feline AIDS and it's incurable. They live about a year when they have it. She would be running fevers all the time. She had sores all over her hand. She barely would move. She was just very sick. And like I said, they were only supposed to live a year when they have this feline AIDS, and it doesn't have a cure. It's just like, like people with AIDS in real life, only it's a feline version. And we couldn't get another cat because she had this contagious thing. And we were taking her to the vet every 3 weeks to get a steroid shot just to make her feel better for just a little bit. Her paws were just ripped up. It was just really sad, sores all over her body. And one night she jumps up on me while I'm doing my devotional. I'm praying, and she jumps up on me, and she's just running a really high fever. And she's just miserable, and she lays on me, and I just lay my hand in her, and I said, Jesus, can you please just heal this cat? I kid you not. We have not been back to the vet since that day. She has completely healed. No fevers, no sores since that day. She has lived over 3 years now. She's been alive and never had another sore, never had another fever. God healed my cat. And it was so visible that I couldn't deny what had happened. It was just so physical. It was like, whoa. But I needed that because I did not realize what I was getting ready to walk into. Shortly after that, something happened. My daughter-in-law was pregnant, and her baby was, they were thinking something really bad was wrong with his brain. And so we brought her over and prayed for her. It's kind of a funny story because she does not come from a church where they lay oil on them. I come from a church that you lay oil on them and you put on their head. And so we went to put oil on her, and I got oil all over her body by accident. Sorry, we get bathed her in it. But we prayed over her, and baby is fine. Baby is smart. Baby is awesome. Totally healed. No problem at all. All their concerns were not even a problem. And then shortly after that, I got big old lumps in my neck, and they were pretty sure they could be cancerous. So everybody started praying for me. I had pastors praying for me, laying on of hands, churches praying for me, people all over the nation praying for me. And then I went in, and they did the biopsy, not cancerous. That was a miracle. Then I go to a church service, and the pastor knows what I just went through. So then she comes over, taps me on the shoulder, and it's not even a church I go to. I just was visiting for that day. And she taps me on the shoulder, and she says, there's a lady up front who's going in for her biopsy, and they think it's cancer. Can you go pray for her? I get up, and it's the same thing. It's in her neck. So I go, I pray for her. She goes to the doctors. Not there, totally not cancerous. One after another, just really cool the way that all played out in my life. And it started with my cat. Had my cat not been sick and I saw the miracle of her, I don't know that I would have the same faith I did from then on. I've prayed for several women. I prayed for a woman when her back was out and she felt better the next day. I prayed for another woman who had kidney stones chronically, and I prayed for her and she stopped having them. I've just seen God do serious miracles in people's lives, and it starts with faith. It starts with believing that when I pray for someone, because I know people are like, oh yeah, I'll pray for them, and they pray for them, but I don't know that they truly believe it's going to happen. And I think it starts with truly believing it's going to happen. You have, through Jesus Christ, it's not us. We're not doing anything other than being obedient and trusting. But when we have faith that God can do a miracle, God can do a miracle. He's just looking for vessels of people that will actually believe it and step out. Over and over and over, Jesus said, your faith has made you healed, right? Nothing magical. Nothing, it's not like we have powers in our fingers or anything crazy like that. What we have is the ability to believe that God can do it, stepping out in faith, praying for people, and trusting that God is going to do a miracle. And that's really, truly the power that God has given us. Corey ten Boom said, never be afraid to trust an unknown future to a known God. And that's what we need to do. We need to trust that God can do powerful, wonderful things if we just believe and start praying and giving opportunities for those things. So I leave you with the pray, 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 believe, 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 and trust that God has got a miracle for you. You just need to trust that He can do it. All right. God bless you all. You have a wonderful day. Take care.